US Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell has announced he will step down from the role after 17 years at the helm. The 82-year-old is the longest-serving Senate leader in history, being a member of the legislative body since 1985. His future as leader was cast in doubt after he twice froze while making remarks in public last year. He gave no specific reason for the timing of his decision and says he plans to serve out his term as a Kentucky senator until 2027. Douglas Heye is a former advisor and communications director with the Republican National Committee. He joins me now live. Douglas, good morning to you. What will Mitch McConnell's legacy be as the Senate Majority Leader?
Well, I think it starts with one of the most skilled tacticians that the United States Senate has ever seen and one of the most skilled leaders. What I mean by that is, if Mitch McConnell got behind something, it probably happened. And if Mitch McConnell wasn't behind something, he probably blocked it. And we've seen that time and time again on whether they're partisan issues or bipartisan issues. He had a unique ability to unite his conference, to push something forward or to halt something if he didn't like it. The other thing is, which sort of gets underrated, I think, in politics sometimes by people who are not sort of in the system, is he had a very unique ability to protect his members, to raise money for them, but also to protect them from votes that might have left them vulnerable in their states and things that could have caused very real political problems for them. That's part of the job that a leader gets, that a leader has to do, that often gets overlooked.
So a very loyal public servant for the Republicans. What do you think? I mean, gosh, what must he have seen and heard in all of those years? What do you think will have been the highs for him?
Well, I think the highs are, you just look at what the legislative record is. And he sort of mentioned this today in his speech. He got 3 Supreme Court justices through in the Trump years. For Republicans, they should look at that as a massive success. And one of the things that McConnell said is, for those who don't like the things that he did, he's going to stick around and try and do more of those. He came up in the Reagan years, and obviously the Republican Party has really changed in the last few years. Reagan conservatism turning into something more Trumpy and MAGA-like. Clearly, McConnell has had problems with that, but he's tried to put the best foot forward as much as he can. He referenced in his speech, there's a lot that went into this decision. It's not necessarily all about Donald Trump, which a lot of the media has focused on today here in the United States, but also his health, things that have gone on in his family as well. He sees it a good time for him to step down. And the key is, he was able to make the decision himself. We saw with Kevin McCarthy, that certainly wasn't the case.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's considered having a hardball approach. How much has that, do you think, been lacking as he's got older and, as you say, has had some health issues in the last year or so as the Republican Party has gone in its various directions, or some would say in one particular direction?
Yeah. Well, he hasn't changed his tactics or strategies in how he plays hardballs, but sometimes he is at odds with his party. Most prominently is funding for Ukraine, where he feels that is not just a priority for the United States, but for the West. A lot of his colleagues on the Republican side in the Senate either don't feel that way or don't feel that way as urgently. Clearly, that's one of these places where there's a divide and where we've seen the party really change. It's something that he lamented in his remarks today, and he'll continue in this role, and then certainly in 2 years, when he's for 2 years outside of that role, sort of following the model that Nancy Pelosi has now shown as an ex-speaker, to lead the party as best he can from an outside position.
And so his replacement, and how much influence do people, let's just put it like that, have on the replacement?
Well, it's going to be a scramble. Right now, there were 3 people who are looking at running most prominently. All 3 are named John, which makes some of the calculus on that a little difficult. A couple other people are looking at it as well. So it's not a situation of, is it this person or that person? It could be one of 4 or 5 people, and we have a long way to go. And one thing about Donald Trump's influence is this will happen after the November elections. And so Donald Trump's influence will be stronger if he's a President-elect Donald Trump than if he's somebody who's lost now 2 elections in a row.
Very interesting. Douglas Heye, good to get your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.